Y'all know I've been to a lot of weddings, but the craziest wedding I ever went to in my whole life happened this past weekend. I was a +1 at table 26 in the corner. And you know when you're that far down on the list, you eat your food, say your congratulations, mind your business, and you get the hell out. You're just happy to be there. But I had a front row seat of the drama, and I gotta tell y'all these people's business, okay? I'm not gonna say no names, but it was actually insane. Before I talk shit, I have to say the mushroom risotto at this wedding was so delicious. I would literally give my firstborn child just to have another bite of it. And I knew once I tasted it, I was like, this cake is going to be out of sight. I cannot wait to get a slice of this cake. When we walked through the door, I was like, oh, I didn't know she was black. I was like, this is an interracial wedding. Instantly, I'm thinking, I hope the black folk in here don't do nothing crazy, because I knew the groom was British. And I know them British folks, they be hoity-toity, heity-bitey, So I was like, okay, hopefully don't nothing pop off. Because you know when black folks do something at a wedding, everything is amplified, right? The speeches start, and the bride's father is giving a speech, and he from the black side of the family. And I hear the maid of honor say something snarky. I'm like, what the fuck is that about? And then when the maid of honor is giving her speech, she talking in codes. And I'm like, what the fuck is that about? And then the groom stands up to give a speech, which was odd because it seemed like the bride was supposed to give a speech and it got punted to the groom. But I was like, okay, let's just get through it so I can get this damn cake. The groom stands up. He is clearly drunk as hell. I will say, the bartender, Jimmy, was pouring them drinks heavy, okay? I was a little tipsy too. So when the groom started talking, I'm not really making out what he's saying. And I think he said something crazy like, I would love you even if you kill somebody. And I was like, what? And I thought maybe it was some British poem I had never heard before. But I was like, okay. But I could barely hear him because the couple next to me were kind of going at it. Like they had something cooking between them. And he said, did you sleep with him? And blah, 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 blah. And you can see that the groom, who is drunk as hell, he's getting agitated. And it's almost like he just word vomited and said, can you shut the fuck up? But like rightfully so, it's his wedding and these people are arguing next to me, right? The guy next to me, he stands up and he starts in a beeline towards the groom. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And where is the cake? When he gets in front of the groom, he don't cuss him out. He don't hit him. Y'all never guess what he did. He headbutted the groom. The groom is gushing blood. And I'm sitting there thinking, we not gonna get no fucking cake. We not gonna get no cake. I have never in my life been to a wedding where the groom got headbutted by a guest at table 26, no less. We still don't know what the fuck happened. We still have no idea what happened, but I will say I'm happy it wasn't the black side of the family. That's all I gotta say!
Part 3 to the wedding venue, canceling on a couple a few days before their wedding and not refunding their money. I blocked them on TikTok, so I'm not seeing the videos, but you guys are going in there in those comments and pop it off. Thank you for that, and I'm sure the couple thanks you too. I heard she's responding and saying that she's going to make a video and tell the truth. Okay, I would love to see that video because the bride has receipts. I also got a message from somebody close to the couple that was involved in the wedding planning and just knows a lot about what's going on, and she wanted me to read it off to you guys, but she wants to remain anonymous, which I don't blame her at all. Okay, so she said, 1, Sandra chose for most communication to be phone calls instead of email, which makes it very easy for her to go back on her word and gaslight the couple when they bring up promises that she made on them in the past. Number 2, to get my I'm just going to put friend. To get my friend to sign the contract and pay the deposit for the venue, Sandra told them they could hire me to coordinate their wedding as I was giving them a friends and family discount. Sandra only required that I send her my business license, which I did. Then immediately after their first meeting with her, she said her new policy is that she no longer allows outside coordinators because of a bad review she got one time. So their only choice was to hire Sandra to be their coordinator for double what I was going to charge them. That is crazy. Crazy. Just because you can coordinate a wedding day doesn't mean that you should. And you're awful. Sorry. When it came time for Sandra to invoice them for the new additional coordination fee, she ended up doubling her initial quote. Since the couple had to switch venues at the last minute, meaning Sandra was no longer going to be their coordinator, they had no choice but to ask me to help coordinate their whole wedding with 3 days' notice, even though I had not been involved in any of the planning, because Sandra tried to take that over. 3, she was trying to censor my friend from speaking about what happened to them and threatening to sue her friend for defamation if she posts a review with the truth in it. 4, Sandra claimed that she could not give them the $10,000 refund because she had already done $10,000 worth of work for them before the wedding even happened. Then when she received pushback for that, she told them she couldn't afford to refund them. 5, her contract clearly states that in an emergency due to wildfires, the couple would receive a full refund. Okay. Then on a separate page of the contract, it states that if the event cannot be held due to rain or wind or snow, then Sandra would find a comparable wedding venue. Sandra tried to put them in a new venue that was only half the capacity of their guest count, which we know about. Number 6, they ended up giving Sandra a 50% discount, meaning Sandra only paid $4,000 to send her clients to a new venue, meaning that she pocketed the other $6,000. Let me talk about that for a second. So Sandra did find another venue for them, but as it stated, it was only $4,000, which means Sandra still owes them $6,000. 7, in the timeline Sandra had made them 1 week prior to the wedding, it stated that music would be turned off by 9 and everyone would be off the property by 10 p.m. Because of that timeline, the couple had paid for 1 day before the fires broke out, and less than a week before the wedding, Sandra called my cousin to tell her everyone would have to be off the property by 8 p.m. And if they wanted to stay till 10, they would have to pay for 2 extra hours, even though their contract and timeline stated otherwise. And this is only a handful of the hell she put them through. So I didn't just make that video because I heard that this was happening. I made that video because I've made multiple other videos talking about this specific venue and this specific venue owner and how awful she is and how photographers in my town refuse to work there. I've gotten inquiries from there. I like money. Do you think I want to turn away a gig? No, but it was at that venue and I will not work there. We have such a great vendor community in Spokane where I live that this has irked me so bad. Just hearing from multiple brides, multiple people, how awful she is and how they ruined their wedding day. I am not going to stay quiet about it. I do not name the venue. I'm stating facts. I'm not stating anything else but facts. So anyway, continue to spam her page and maybe, she'll retire. Maybe she'll retire. She's 70. Maybe it's time to retire. I also have so many other things I could say that I was asked not to say about somebody that got married there. I wish I could, but I can't, unfortunately.
Okay, I'm going to tell a story that I wanted to tell for a long time, but I haven't because it is exhausting. Have you seen the movie Just Married with Brittany Murphy and Ashton Kutcher? It's sort of like that, except it's way worse because it's completely true, and it's not about our honeymoon, it's about our journey to the altar. So, December 2015, I get engaged when I'm home in Park City, Utah, where I grew up. We take some time during that trip to go look at venues because I knew I wanted to get married in Park City. I always wanted to. We decide that we would like to get married at the St. Regis in Deer Valley. Father of the bride says, this is what you want. It's your wedding. The world is your oyster. You like St. Regis? Excellent. Yes, let's do it. So he puts down the deposit. He holds the date, December 3rd of 2016. I wanted to be a Christmas bride. So that was the plan. We send out save the dates in the next month or so, and they go out to like 250 people. I have a really big family on my mom's side. We had a lot of people we loved, and I wanted everyone to be there. So save the dates are out. I want to skip now to mid-July 2016. We've been working with the venue over email and phone calls, planning this wedding, and it was time to do a menu testing. So Mike and I fly back out to Park City in July, and we go do this tasting, and right before we leave, I had a weird vibe. My dad didn't want to go with us to like the venue walkthrough and the tasting, and I was okay, fine. But I just had this weird feeling, and we get an email before we leave from someone in the finance department of the St. Regis saying, no payments have been made on the venue since the initial deposit in January, and they assume that we are not planning to get married there. And guess what? They are suing my dad. They're suing my dad because he's the one who had the contract for $50,000. Why? Because it's too late for them to book that day, December 3rd, by mid-July. So they're going to lose the money. It's too late to book another wedding. No one's going to book it that close. So they're going to lose money for the venue for that day. So my dad not only had not been paying, he didn't tell me because he didn't want to let me down. He was a brilliant man, but he was not without his flaws, right? This was a big oops. Couldn't tell you. I understand why he didn't. I wish he had, but he did not. So I have a freaking meltdown. So I was so embarrassed. I had sent out all these save the dates. Now we had no wedding venue, no plan. I was devastated. I was super angry, caused a big rift in my family. And I was locked and loaded at Monique Lillier with the dress that I had picked out. I'd already paid for half of it at that point, I think, and this dress cost me as much as a car, okay? I don't know what I was thinking then, but that's what Mommy wanted, and that's what I was getting, okay? So I have this beautiful dress. I'm in the middle of getting alterations done, and no venue. Okay, sorry, I had to get a footrest. So at this point, I make this my mother's problem. I can't do this. I can't call all these people and tell them the wedding's canceled. I'm horrified, I'm embarrassed, I'm devastated. My mom's a hero. She handles it. I don't know what she said. She handles it for me. And then another month, maybe 2 months goes by, and she calls me one day and basically says, so we have family who live in England. She basically calls and says, hey, we have family connections to a hotel in Verona, Italy. We can go, we can bring some people, we can stay there, we can get married there. And for some reason, I was just like, okay. I had been to Italy a handful of times, but I'd never been to Verona. It felt a little bit weird going somewhere that I'd never been before, that we had no connection to, but I said yes, and we ended up inviting a total of 22 people. I had exactly one friend there, my best friend Megan, and Mike had exactly one family member there, his mom. That's just how it worked out. So 22 people, we're all set. Verona, let's go. Okay, fast forward. It's getting to be the time where I need to get the dress to Verona. So I call Delta, and at this point I was working for Bumble. I was traveling nonstop. I was like a platinum medallion member of Delta at this point. I call them and say, can I bring my wedding dress on the plane? And do you know what they say? If you want to bring your dress on that plane, you can buy it a seat. Okay. Well, that's not happening. So, and I'm not checking it, which we'll later find out was a great idea. So I go back to Monique Lillier and I say, well, we're going to ship the dress. So fast forward to, it's about a week before the wedding. I ship the dress. Surprise! That'll be $900. Okay. Well, I thought it would be expensive, but no. All right, fine. The dress is on its way. We get packed, you know, all the little last minute things, and it is 2 days before we are supposed to fly out to Verona. I wake up and I had 10 missed calls. So did my mom. It was the concierge in Verona at the hotel. This woman's also a hero. She had been frantically calling us overnight because customs had gotten a hold of her, and they basically said they're holding this dress. They put, like, I think it was a $3,500 tax on the dress because I'm not sure exactly what happened, but they marked it as like a good to be sold, not for personal use. Even though it's my fucking wedding dress, I'm not bringing it there to sell it. It was whatever. So she freaks out. They basically said, pay up or you're not going to have this dress. So this woman, bless her soul, pays out of her own pocket to save the day. And she did. So we almost didn't have the dress. Dress gets there. I pull out cash that I'm going to get changed over and give to her. So now it's the day. We're leaving. It's time to go. Flying to Verona, baby. Wedding's in 48 hours. I check in with my husband and my sister. We all checked in under like my Delta account, right? So all the bags were together. I had 3 suitcases. Everyone else had 1, I think. And off we go. All right, we meet my mom in Rome, and then we fly to Verona, and it's this little airport. And we're having a jolly old time. We're in a great mood. Everyone's laughing. We're waiting for the bags to come off, and we're getting our bags. And all of a sudden, the little conveyor belt stops, and I look down. Mom has her bags. Husband has his bags. Sister has her bags. I have 1 bag. Where's the other 2? They're not there. Okay. Cue a meltdown. We go to, you know, this little desk that they had there, and we're like, help, I need this for my wedding. It's like, it's half of my wedding stuff. And we were going straight to our honeymoon in Europe for 2.5 weeks after that. Like, I need my shit. They're like, we'll open a case for it and we'll let you know. Okay, great. So we go to the hotel. I call Delta. Delta, again, they say to me that the suitcase, this is the fault of their partner airline, Alitalia, that we got onto in Rome. And I say, don't you track this? And they were like, when it switches over to Alitalia, they take all of the Delta tags off and they do their own tracking. I call Alitalia. They say, your wedding dress could be, or not your dress, your luggage could be in Washington or Egypt. We don't know. It's gone. We'll call you when we find it. Okay. So I have nothing that I need, and I'm gonna have to make part 2. This is part 3 of my wedding disaster story. If you didn't watch parts 1 and 2, go do that first. Okay, so the collar. Yes, the collar. What happened to the collar? Okay, this is, again, the next day. We all take the train to Venice for just a day. The story's low-key giving me hives. Do you see this? The story giving me hives. We go to Venice, we find this adorable pizzeria, and we're all eating pizza. I'm facing my mother, and I get a Snapchat from my cousin. It is a bottle of whiskey from this distillery in Park City that she had just unwrapped. Somehow, this was wrapped around the bottle, wrapped up with the bottle, given to my cousin, who flew the next day to England. Mom, we're legitimately not allowed to talk about this story because my mom gets sensitive. Mom, Mom, you built my wedding with your own 2 hands. I'm not mad at you. And this is what she does the next day. In front of everyone, I play the Snapchat. This is my mom. She's got her glass of Chardonnay, her pizza. She goes like this. And all was forgiven. So, once more. Custom collar. A frayed bralette that I wore around my neck my entire wedding. And honestly, it's kind of perfect. So, that's it. That's the story. We made it. Okay, this is part 2 of my wedding disaster story. If you didn't see part 1, go watch that first and then come back. Where we left off, I've landed in Verona. I'm missing 2 out of 3 suitcases and no one gives a flying shit. Okay? Forgot to mention when we got to the airport in LA, I realized I didn't have the envelope of $3,500 cash for the concierge who paid for my wedding dress tax. I didn't know if it was on the sidewalk at home, in the Uber, at my house. We had to have a neighbor who we didn't know that well, who we gave, thank God, an emergency key to, go to our house and search for it. He found it under my bed. So there's that too. Okay, so the next day, it's the day of the rehearsal dinner, day before my wedding. I decide I've had it and I'm going to go do a sit-in at the airport in Verona. I'm like, these ladies have got to help me. We decided at some point the most logical thing that would have happened to the bags is that they would have left them in Rome. So we're just on this Rome kick. We get to the airport in Verona and the little help desk has a sign that says it's closed until like 2 p.m. and it's like 10 a.m. I can hear the girls who were running it, who were there the day before, I can hear them behind it. So I start knocking. No one's answering. Knocking. No one's answering. So I'm like, okay. I just sit down on the floor and start calling Delta and Alitalia again. And then I do the most logical thing I could think of. And I ask the internet for help. I go on Twitter and I tweet the reference number of my case and Delta and Alitalia. And I ask everyone to start tweeting them because they're going to ruin my wedding if they don't help me. And let me tell you, Twitter delivered. I love each and every person people started yelling at Delta and Alitalia. And I'm sitting there causing a ruckus. We're calling. We get to the point where they answer the phone, customer service, and they're like, we know who she is. We don't know where the suitcases are. Well, I keep banging on the door at the airport. Hours go by of this. And they finally open the window. And the lady is so fed up. By the way, like, they don't speak English very well. We are not communicating, but they know what's going on. I'm just like, please call Rome. Please call Rome. Call Rome from your phone, not mine. No one wants to talk to me. They don't care. They don't care. These girls are like, get out. We're not calling Rome. Like they will let you know when your suitcase is found. I start crying hysterically, and one of them finds it in her heart. She takes her cell phone. She picks up the phone. She calls someone in Rome. She comes out from their little office and hands my husband the phone. It is a person who is at the airport. And she says to him, I know what's going on. I am a human. I get it. I'm going to go look for the suitcase. We stay on hold. She comes back. They found both suitcases in a giant corral of suitcases just sitting in Rome, waiting to be found. God knows when. Then we have to get them from Rome to Verona. They put them on the next flight out, okay? Fast forward. Suitcases come. It is like 4 o'clock, and I think we're leaving for the rehearsal dinner at like 5. I rip open the suitcases in the lobby of the hotel. I give them my dress that I'm going to wear that night for the rehearsal dinner. They steam it, give it back to me fast enough for me to get it on my body. It is still damp. We roll out to the rehearsal dinner. I'm literally out of breath. This story is so stressful. Okay, so we have the rehearsal dinner. It's beautiful. I love it. It's overlooking the city. Things are going great. We think we've turned it around. Next morning comes. I get my hair done at a salon at the hotel by people who don't speak English. Nice to meet you. Here's my hair. I didn't have inspiration photos. I had nothing. I showed them my dress. They did my hair. It turns out spectacular. I love my hair. This is great. I have a nice little breakfast, a bunch of donuts that I saw like in a buffet somewhere. Yay. I do my own makeup for the wedding. Unfortunately, it's very 2016 makeup. I don't need to further explain that, but there are some unfortunate errors that were made. But I am chilling. I'm listening to the Beach Boys and the Eagles, and we're in my giant, beautiful hotel room. And people are coming in and out. I'm completely relaxed. And we have our photographer with us. It comes time that we're going to leave in like an hour. But my husband is ready. He's downstairs. And I'm like, great. I just need to get dressed. This is going fantastic. I don't have any nerves. I feel this is a miracle, by the way. I have raging panic and anxiety. So we go to put my dress on. My dress, this is very important. I gave it to my mother when we arrived because I didn't want my husband to see it. Mom, put this in your fucking closet. You have one job. I love you. I know you're going to watch this, but you had one job. I need to talk faster, but I have like PTSD. So we zip up the dress. Beautiful, gorgeous, love it. Couldn't be happier, worth every penny. I had a custom collar made from the lace of the dress, the specific lace to match. This thing also cost me more than a house. Beautiful collar. Can't find it. Mom, where's the collar that goes with my dress? I didn't touch it. Okay, well, it's not there. It's not there. It did arrive with the dress. I saw it, but it's gone. And at this point, I melt down because I've had it. I'm done. I'm done with this wedding. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm not getting married. I lose my shit. I turn into Satan and I am screaming. My sister, by the way, is filming all of this and Snapchatting it. Thank you. I am screaming at my mom. We get the hotel concierge involved. We think maybe it somehow like got put into the laundry room. They flip my hotel room. They flip my mom's hotel room. I'm telling you, we are ripping sheets off the mattress. They're going through the laundry at the hotel. I am losing my mind. They're sending in one person at a time going, the light's starting to change. We are now like an hour past when we were supposed to start photos. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going. F everyone. And it gets to the point where people are starting to panic and they're like, okay, we have to go. We're not gonna be able to take pictures. You're like, are you getting married or not? Well, at some point, my best friend, Megan, comes back in the room. We see, I had worn to the rehearsal dinner a halter like bralette that was kind of like lacy, right? Okay. So Jesus himself must have sent this idea down to one of us, but we take little nail scissors. We cut the bra here and here. I had body tape. We took and put the bra around my neck, secured it with body tape, roll out. This is it, by the way. You want to see the original? Because we do find it, but you're gonna have to wait for that. Are you serious? So I wore a bra around my neck on my wedding day. True story. We roll out, we take insanely stunning pictures, and we get to the venue. God, I feel like I'm still, we're not done yet, unfortunately, but I think we're really out of the woods at this point. My mom and I are not talking, but I think we're out of the woods. Oh my God, I have 1 minute. Okay, we get to the venue and The ladies at the venue are lovely. They're like, well, let's just steam your dress out really quickly because it got wrinkled from the ride there. They take an iron that looks like it's from 1842. They start steaming the dress. Guess what? 2 like globs that look like bacon grease fall down onto the front center of my dress. Everyone's freaking out. I have brown spots on my dress. They go, we're going to take care of this. They go get a cleaner. They're blotting it out. They clean it. It bleaches. It bleaches. It bleaches the dress. You know what? I said, I don't give a flying shit. I don't care. We're here. We made it. We did this. And I went on to have the most epic night of my life. I loved my wedding. Everything happens for a reason. We made it. This is the end of this story. We had a beautiful honeymoon for 2 weeks in Europe, and I don't know, we lived happily ever after. Now we have 2 kids and we're almost 10 years married.
Think you have a crazy mother-in-law? Buckle up. My husband and I were getting married. There was a ton of drama when it came to my mother-in-law. Shocking. She actually reached out to me and she asked what color my mom was wearing for the wedding because she didn't want to pick the same colors. I wanted the moms and the grandmoms to all be in something different. I told her that my mom wanted to wear navy blue but didn't buy a dress yet. Mother-in-law goes out. She buys a navy blue dress and she says, I know you said your mom wanted to wear navy blue, so if she buys a dress and it's navy blue, I will take this dress back and buy a new one. Okay. Once we picked out my mom's dress, I texted my mother-in-law and said, hey, we did end up going with navy blue. So I know you said you would return yours. I just wanted to let you know. She lost her ever-loving mind. She cursed me out. She cursed my mom out. She told me I looked fat in my wedding dress and she didn't like it. She said she was not returning the dress. She already bought a dress. She's not buying another one. She was arguing with me that the color wasn't navy blue. It was this whole thing. This went on for literal months to the point where she was uninvited to my bridal shower because she would not stop cursing me and my mom out. This was truly just the beginning. So if you want a part 2 for all the wedding drama, let me know.
All right, this is a long overdue story time of how my hairstylist of 8 years may or may not have intentionally fucked up my wedding hair. So I had seen her for about 8 years, like I said, and pretty much we had so many consultations leading up to the wedding. We had a game plan. We knew what I wanted, the color I wanted. I pretty much wanted this style of highlights, but much brighter, like the color of my money piece. I wanted all of the brightness throughout. And then also this whole thing was going to match this bright piece because I told her that I wanted to wear extensions. And this is where I think that she may have intentionally wanted to fuck up my hair. I felt for a while that she was trying to like get me to quit as like her client because I could tell that she didn't have the balls to tell me like she didn't want to do my hair anymore. But I might be wrong, but it started to feel like that. And I think that me making this comment may or may not have like just put her off, but I don't know. So you tell me. And please don't come for me. This wasn't meant as like an attack on anyone or an attack on women. It was more so just a personal preference. Maybe my delivery was bad, but story of my life. So I pretty much said, are you sure you can get my hair this color? Because that's what color extensions I'm going to start looking for. And I want to make sure that whatever extensions I get absolutely are a perfect match. Because I personally can't stand when I see wedding photos where the bride's hair it's completely 2 different colors with the extensions. Like, it's so obvious, and I'm sorry if that's rude, but like, I just fucking hate it. Like, it's just not my cup of tea. So she was like, oh my god, girl, yes, I agree, I'm on the same page, it looks so bad, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm glad we're on the same page. So once we said that, we had this appointment and then 2 following appointments, which the third one she was like, oh, we probably won't even need. I'm like, okay, great. First appointment, she does my hair, looks not that much different, and she's like, okay, it's gonna be however much. And mind you, I'm driving almost 2 hours to come see her and paying a good amount. So I tip whatever I leave. And I'm like a little worried and I have this gut feeling like, maybe I should find someone else because the fact that my hair is still so far off from what she says that we're gonna be is worrying me. But I'm like, no, it's fine, let me trust her. She's known me and done my hair for 8 years. And prior to our elopement, which was a year prior to this, she was always like rock solid on like knowing how to do my hair properly with little to no communication of like me giving her instructions. So I was starting to get worried because I'm like, okay, why do I not see any progress? But I'm like, okay, I have a second appointment and potential third, so it's fine. So I come to the second appointment, and I'm not sure if it was this appointment or the last one, but I had a haircut scheduled and more balayage highlights throughout. And I was annoyed for multiple reasons. One, I literally left there feeling like my hair looked no fucking different from the first appointment. And I'm annoyed because I just saw her a month prior. And for reference, we would only see each other every 2 to maybe 3 months, depending on how long my hair is growing. So for me to see her, this was now January and February, and then my third appointment was gonna be March, and then wedding April. So I am annoyed because I'm already seeing you 2 months back to back. My hair should look fucking amazing. And it didn't yet. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. And I'm thinking in my gut, should I find someone else? I'm like, no, it's fine. So she instructs me on which extensions to get. And I'm like, are you absolutely sure? Are you absolutely sure? Because these are really far off from what we are. And she's like, oh girl, she's like, I'll have you there. And she told me she would have me there by the end of this appointment, the second appointment. She did not get me anywhere near close. So I'm like, okay, like sure, if you say so. So I ordered the extensions. They're really expensive because it was human hair. I've never gotten like real human hair extensions. And I did my research with that too. I ordered so many samples. I had her pick between millions of samples and she picked the brightest one. So it wasn't me. And literally that was the funny thing is I let her pick what she thought was attainable. I didn't even get to pick what extensions or color we were aiming for. So I leave the appointment, I'm like annoyed because not only does my hair not look good, she also wouldn't cut my hair. She was like, I'll do a dusting, but I don't cut bride's hair leading up to their wedding. I'm like, where was the fucking memo on that? You never told me that. I would have went elsewhere to get my hair cut because I desperately needed it because my hair was cooked. Like, I'm blonde and you just cooked it 2 months back to back. So I'm annoyed about the haircut, I'm annoyed about the color. She's like, we are gonna need a third appointment. I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit. She's like, but it's only gonna be X amount, like it's gonna be substantially less. She gives me the quote, I'm like, okay, cool. So we make the following appointment, the last appointment, and this is now gonna be the second to last or last week of March, and we were getting married April 5th. So, and we were leaving April 1st, which is important to know because this was as far out as I could do it while still being as close as possible to the wedding. So I come in for the final appointment. She says that, I'm sorry, I'm like this has me so heated. So from the first appointment, she told me that she would put in my extensions. She told me, I'll put your hair half up, half down, which is how you're wearing it for your wedding, and I'll clip in the extensions and make absolute sure. We'll do like a mock trial. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you, you're amazing. And we now are in the third appointment. Honey, my hair was nowhere near fucking close to blonde as fuck. Literally, like I'm way blonder now than I was for our wedding, which is saying a lot because this isn't even the blonde that like I am talking about, but it's much closer than what the wedding hair was. So she finishes my hair. She's like, okay, I'm done. And she's like, congrats, I'm so happy for you. And she's like clearly ready to leave. And I'm like, wait, we didn't put the extensions in. And she's like, oh my God, I almost forgot. So she takes one fucking singular extension, has the audacity to clip it right next to my money piece and be like, see, it's a perfect match. Yeah, that's the only thing it matched. It didn't match anything in here. And if you know about half up, half down, you're losing your whole top layer of hair. So where's the fucking match? So I'm already like starting to get nervous, but I'm like, whatever. Like she's saying it's going to lighten in the sun. She's like, it's going to lighten so much in Mexico in the sun. And I'm like, okay, that's like a big difference, but okay. And she's like, purple shampoo and the sun. I'm like, okay, cool. So then the final straw that pissed me off was when I get to pay. She's like, oh, it's actually $50 more than what I quoted you. I'm like, when were you gonna fucking tell me that? And mind you, what am I paying for? She goes, I did so much more than like what I like told you I was gonna do. Where, bitch? Literally where? Like I'm so lost. So essentially all of our wedding photos, everything of me from the wedding, I hate the way I look. I look exactly like what I said I didn't want to look like, a girl with mismatched ass extensions, looking crazy as fuck, and it happened to be the windiest day on planet Earth, so the wind, of course, separated all my hair from the extensions, so it was just awful, and it's literally so unfortunate because my husband and I now have no wedding photos, no bridal portraits that we actually love, because my hair looked so fucking bad, and I'm so thankful that he is who he is, and he's not, like, rude about the fact that, like, I feel this way, and he's very validating, because he could see that my hair looks like fucking shit, and it's annoying, because I should have fucking listened to him. He told me to leave her ass fucking years ago, and I didn't, and I'm so annoyed, but I finally left. I finally got my hair done by somebody who actually knows what they're doing and actually gives a fuck and doesn't gaslight me every 5 seconds, but this is your sign to trust your gut, and if you are getting beauty things done leading up to your wedding, and something doesn't feel right, speak the fuck. I didn't, and it ruined my enjoyment of my wedding because in the day of, I knew it. Like, I'm not blind. I could fucking see how bad it looked. It was so bad. Like, all day, I was so, like, I kept touching myself, trying to, like, blend them, trying to fix them. Like, it really ruined my enjoyment. And it ruined so many things that it might sound dumb, but, like, if you're a woman and you care about how you look and you've had a vision for your wedding day, like, hopefully you understand my point of view. But it really ruined so much of my wedding for me, and now, like, post-wedding, it's ruined even more because I can't even look back at these photos and be happy because I'm just so upset about how I looked and how I felt in that moment, and, like, I just remember being like, this looks bad. Like, as I was walking down the aisle to my husband, like, the wind was blowing my hair apart, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking tweak out. So, this is your sign to trust your gut, and yeah, I feel like I rambled a lot and I missed a lot, but that's that. And if she sees this, fuck you. That's all I gotta say.
My TikTok is filled with videos about a woman who makes custom wedding dresses getting flamed right now. All of this is alleged. I always gotta share these stories on my TikTok because I feel like I have nobody else to talk to them about. But basically, my For You page has been taken over. Because, okay, my sister and I have the opposite starting points, but we both came to the same conclusion. Because I first saw this video, this girl posted, and she's like, oh, I want to talk about my experience getting a custom made wedding dress from this boutique. I saw that video first. My sister saw the response video from the boutique first. But yeah, like I said, we both came to the same conclusions. Basically, how this all started, this girl gets on TikTok and she's talking about like, oh yeah, for my wedding, like, I never talked about this, but I wanted like a lot of specific stuff for my dress, so I figured for me it would be worth it to spend the extra money on making a whole custom dress than spending the money on like buying an expensive dress, getting it like altered and everything like that. So she's like, I figured that for me personally it was worth it to just spend the extra money on a completely custom made dress. Fair enough, you know, if that's in your budget, that's something you want to do, perfect. So she finds this like wedding dress, like boutique place that makes custom dresses. It's called Undone by Kate. She finds Undone by Kate, I think like on Instagram or something. She comes across it. It's in Manhattan, I think. And she sees her stuff. She's like, okay, yeah, let's do this. So she DMs the girl and she's like, hey, I'm interested in having you make a wedding dress for me. So the lady responds and is like, okay, if you want to hop on a Zoom call to talk about what you want. She charges like $150, maybe even more, for just the Zoom call. Just the Zoom call to talk about what you want. Which, in my opinion, I feel like, maybe I'm stupid, but I feel like it's like normal and good business practice to do like a free consultation first. But maybe that's just me. So, yeah, she has to pay for this Zoom call for a consultation, like $150 or more dollars. And yeah, she basically just tells the woman, Kate, what she wants. Like, this is what I have in mind for my wedding dress, blah, blah, blah. So they agree that, like, yes, this is something we can do. Let's start working on it. They schedule, I believe, like 3 fitting appointments and everything. The girl shows up to the first appointment, and the dress wasn't bad. It was fine. But it was like the rough draft. So obviously it wasn't the final product. It wasn't exactly what she wanted, but like, it was okay. And the girl's like, that I actually really like this dress. The only things that I want to change, there was one thing she wanted to change, and I can't remember for some reason off the top of my head. But then she was like, there were like, I can't remember if it was just seams or if it was like corset, like pieces. But she was like, oh, these are straight. I want them to be like curved, you know, to snatch my waist a little bit more. So lady, like it was just that and one other thing. Like those were the only things she wanted changed from the rough draft. So the lady's like, okay, perfect. Like Kate's like, gotcha. We'll do that. And the girl shows up to the next appointment, completely different fucking dress. Like, it's not even similar to the last one, even though she said, like, oh, this is really good. I like everything about it. Just change these little things. Completely different fucking dress. Like, actually, it's insane, like, looking from the first one to the second one. Different. And it's not even what the girl was asking for to begin with at all. And so she's like, okay, like, what the fuck happened? Like, what happened to that other dress I was wearing? Why is this so different? And Kate just keeps being like, oh, like, it's just because we're still in the process, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, they have one more appointment at this point. So she goes to the last appointment. Again, a completely different fucking dress. And she's like, this isn't what I wanted at all. Like, I have no, like, I don't feel good about this. Like, this is basically my last appointment. I'm scared that by the time my wedding day comes, because her wedding was, like, soon. It was in, like, I think she said 6 weeks. She's like, I don't think I'm gonna have the dress I want. Okay, like, let's get you in for one more. Like, I'll add one more consultation for free, like one more appointment for free. So they add another one, and then the girl is still like, no, I still just don't feel good about this. Like, I'm sorry, but I think that I can't work with you anymore. Like, can I have a partial refund? Like, this isn't what I wanted. I feel like you weren't listening to what I wanted and what I was asking for, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think she received the refund, but yeah, basically she just had to like find a dress last minute before her wedding, like, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she had these dreams of wanting a custom wedding dress. That's the whole reason she went to this place. And she just had to find, like, a random dress last minute because she barely had any time at this point. And the dress that she was getting was not what she fucking asked for. Later, she decides to share this online. And after she posted that video, it was, like, a fucking explosion. Because, first of all, the video went, like, pretty viral. And then, on top of that, all of these people are coming forward and being like, I also went to her and had, like, the same exact thing happen. Or, like, I did this and like I asked for this and she didn't give me that, like blah blah blah. Or like people are going on and finding old videos people posted where it's like them showing them wearing the dresses in the boutique, and it's just not I can't even say anything else except it's not anything. It's not looking good. That's what I'll say. It becomes this whole thing of all these people coming forward like, yeah, I also had a bad experience, yeah, she also did this to me. And it's kind of, people are comparing it to the Hair by Chrissy situation. Is it Chrissy or Christy? I don't remember, because people call her Crispy and that's all I can remember. Hair by Crispy. Because basically, it's the same fucking thing. If you don't know about that situation, this lady owns a salon that's like famous, and essentially if you're an influencer and you go there, you're gonna get like the best stuff. Like, they're gonna take really good care of you, and they want you to post about it and talk about how amazing it was. But if you're not an influencer, they don't give a fuck about you. The lady Chrissy, or whatever her name is herself, that owns a salon and is like the person everybody wants to get in with, you have to pay extra for her to like do your hair, but she doesn't even do shit. Like, she'll just touch it. She'll just touch it and then be like, okay, bye, and walk away, and you have to like pay extra for that just for her to fucking touch your hair. So basically, it's like she's the face of the business and likes to pretend that she's like really up in there, but she isn't. Like, she barely does any of the work, and they only give a fuck about influencers. People are saying that this is the same exact thing, because it seems like the only people she like actually takes good care of and does a good job on are influencers. And she also does not do any of the work herself, because more information starts to come out. This girl, Kate, she doesn't have any background in like fashion. The most she has done is she used to make like crop tops, like put elastic in crop tops on TikTok, and that's like the extent of her fashion background, is that she would fucking cut up shirts and then add like a fucking seam to the bottom. Like, that's it. And not even a good seam, like a really bad uneven one. And now all of a sudden she's a couture wedding dress designer. So people have found videos, like I just watched this video, it just came up on my For You page before I made this, where this girl who like actually does fashion and everything was talking about it. She dug through and found old videos where she shows like a factory of like people actually making the dresses. So I believe at least some percentage of these dresses are actually being custom made. Maybe it's just the influencers. I don't know the details, but there's at least something going on, but it's not her making it. And she'll like post videos of herself like pretending she's making the dresses, but all she's doing is just literally ruffling the fabric. Like, she'll just move the fabric around and like stick a pin in and be like, yep, here's me making a dress. And that's it. Like, you never actually see her make anything because she doesn't know how. And that's fine. Like, her degree is apparently in business. Like, if she was just running this as a business, or being like the creative director, or literally just being like the face of the business and running it, but like having other people, be the seamstresses and stuff, that would be fine. Like, I don't think anybody would really think about it. But it's the fact that she is presenting herself as if she were some like designer, as if she's like this very like highly educated fashion, like fashionista, fashion expert. She doesn't know how to do any of this stuff. And that's, I think, one of the big issues, is because a lot of people are saying like, I don't want to hate if these really are being made by people, like if people are actually making these dresses, like for her specifically. But a lot of people are saying like, the dresses don't look good and they're not what people asked for. Like the girl who posted the original video, the dresses were not what she was asking for. And that might not even be, if she really is using the seamstresses for everybody, that's probably not the seamstress's fault, because she's the one doing the like consultations and stuff. So she probably just isn't communicating well at all what people are asking for, because she doesn't know terminology. She doesn't know like any of this actual like design, fashion work stuff. Like, she doesn't know it. So she's probably communicating poorly to the seamstresses, and then they're making stuff that the clients don't want. But the reason I keep being like, oh, if she's actually using seamstresses, because we have seen, like I said, on her account, there has been evidence of seamstresses existing in her presence and being used. Is she doing it herself? No. But there's at least some evidence of seamstresses being used by her to actually make stuff. So I believe in some way that there are seamstresses present, but the issue comes in because people have reverse image searched like the dresses and stuff, or like looked online, and they have found like the exact dresses, supposedly, I don't know if this is true 100%, but I've seen a lot of people talking about it. They're saying that they're finding the dresses that she's like giving to people, like especially from that first original video, they found like the rough draft dresses and stuff online on Shein, AliExpress, like all of that stuff, like on fucking, like random like fast fashion websites for like, $20, and then she's selling it off to people for thousands of dollars like it's some custom couture dress. So again, I don't know what the situation with the seamstresses is. I don't know if she actually is having them make dresses. I don't know if she's having them alter these dresses that she's buying from Shein. I don't know what the word is, or like I said, if it's like a thing, because a lot of people are saying she treats influencers better or something. I don't know. If that is the situation, maybe she's just using the seamstresses for like influencers or like higher up people, and then using the fucking Shein dresses for people that she doesn't deem important. I don't know. But this is all just speculation. This is all stuff that I'm seeing online, and I'm like trying to piece the puzzle pieces together. But yeah, pretty much everybody's pissed at her now because she's not listening to what people are asking for. She is giving people just hoopla, absolute hoopla of dresses and supposedly buying stuff from Shein, whatever, you know, and charging thousands and thousands of dollars. And that is the thing. And she's lying about knowing about fashion. Again, it is okay that she doesn't know about fashion. If this is something she's passionate about, that's fantastic. Like, she has a degree in business. Like, if fashion is something she wants to be a part of and she wants to have a fashion business, that's great. Be the creative director, be that, like, the head of the company. You don't need to fake being a designer and be the only person present for consultations and all this stuff if you don't know what you're doing. That's not good business. And what I don't get is how she keeps getting business and these people keep buying from her, because I've literally seen like maybe one positive thing said about her, and I'm pretty sure it was from an influencer. Obviously, if you're not getting what you asked for and paid for, that's already an issue. But the fact that these are wedding dresses, that's like a lot of girls like biggest day in their life. Like, this is a day that so many like women look forward to their entire fucking lives. You know, it's something they're spending thousands of dollars on, and they are specifically going somewhere because they want something custom, because they know what they're going to find in stores isn't going to make them happy. And then you are allegedly giving them a fucking dress from Shein. Like, that's crazy. Obviously, people are going to be upset about it. Right after the first girl uploaded her video, Kate got online and like gave her side of the story. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't really listen to much of the video because it just sounded like a whole lot of hoopla to me again. But one thing I did clock and pay attention to was the fact that she's like, I issued her a refund. Like, I issued her a refund. And she shows the email where she like emailed the girl and told her she was going to give her a full refund or whatever. I either think she was hoping we wouldn't notice if she didn't point it out or what, but she didn't give the woman a refund until after the video was up and it started going viral. Like, she's acting like, no, she was given a refund. She wasn't happy she was given a refund. You didn't give her a refund until the video went viral because you were probably hoping she'd take it down. This whole situation is just so confusing. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand how she has so much business. If all the reviews I've seen are negative about her, like, everybody's having a bad experience, everybody's not getting what they asked for, blah, 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 and then it's just like, still somehow we're finding so many people coming out of the woodworks that have worked with her. I'm like, how? But I guess that is what she does best because she is a business major. But again, if she was a creative director and like was working, she had like people working for her that were seamstresses, designers, like all of that stuff, I don't think anybody would bat an eye and have a problem with it. But it's like, you have no background. You have no fashion background other than your random sewing machine in your room that you probably got for $60 off Amazon that you used to make a crop top. Like, that's the only background you have. And she's sitting here like, she is like freaking crispy, sitting here like making these videos, staging it like she's making the dresses herself or doing the hair herself by just being like, doing this and then being like, did it. But yeah, like I said, everything's alleged. I don't know the full story of everything that's happened because I obviously don't think she's going to come out herself and say, yeah, I haven't been making the dresses myself, blah, blah, blah. Or, yeah, I've been buying them from Shein. Like, so I don't know if we ever will know the full story, but I do know that a lot of people were unhappy, and I can't imagine the absolute disappointment and just sadness to decide to spend extra money on a very important day for yourself to get a custom dress, and then you get literally not what you fucking asked for at all. Like, you get gloop and glop, really. You get a whole pile of gloop and glop. The situation is ongoing and it keeps getting worse every day. I see like 5 more people post online talking about their experience and how they got fucked over by her or whatever, and it's just, I can't believe this. That's all. Bye.
My mother-in-law had a tough morning the day that we got married. She was upset about losing her son. Like, if I have to boil it down psychologically, like, that was the problem, is that she was losing her son, and that made her upset, which I can totally understand. The night before, I had laid out all the soaps I had wanted in the bathroom because it was going to be at her house, and that morning, or sometime at night, she had switched all the soaps to the soaps she wanted. So I had wanted these Bath & Body Works soaps that were my wedding colors, and she had wanted these soaps she got at Whole Foods, and it had been like a fight earlier, and she switched them. So that wasn't great that morning. And then she refused to come to the area where we were doing our first look photos. So like, she wasn't in any of the photos from the first look area, which is like on the beach. It was beautiful. She's not in any of those. All other parents were. And then she also refused to come out for the photos because she says she wasn't ready. So she didn't want to see the makeup person and get her makeup done. And then she also refused to come out for the photos and was like, you guys just do them without me. It's fine. And we were like, we're not doing the wedding photos without you. Just come outside. We're going to do the photos. She got very few photos because she just literally refused to come out. When we were at the wedding ceremony site, she like, I feel like when you get married that day, everyone's like all hands on deck. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Like every single person. I had junior bridesmaids who were like 14 years old. They were like, what can I do to help you? Like everybody was helping. And she was literally so passive, just like 100% did not want to help at all. It was so obvious she like wasn't invested in this. And then as soon as it was over and we got to the ceremony and the reception, she was fine. But it was just like a very funny morning. And it didn't ruin my morning. I didn't even tell my mom about it because I knew my mom would freak out about it and like be upset for me. And I just didn't need more attention between them. But like, it really wasn't a big deal. But I still think about how like the psychological impacts of her son getting married were like too much for her to overcome that morning. Cooking onions makes me cry.
I got married just about 2 months ago, so let's talk about all the things that went wrong at my wedding, because there was a lot. To start, I am so grateful that I even got to have a wedding that had 120 of my friends and family. It's so cool to see all of those people in one room because it'll probably never happen again. It was a beautiful day. I'm sure none of my guests really noticed that things went wrong. Let's not forget how expensive weddings are because they are actually kind of ridiculous. I mean, so much money goes into only 6 hours. A 6-hour event. It's not even a full day. And to see things not go as planned makes it even more frustrating when a lot of money is involved. Right at the crack of dawn, we were supposed to meet my hair and makeup artist at 6:45 at the venue so we can start hair and makeup with all the girls by 7 a.m. My hair and makeup artist with her assistants arrived at the venue about 5 minutes before I did. I'm getting a call from her saying that the gate to the venue is not open. And when I tell you I have the best intuition, I really do. I remember getting in the car at like 6 in the morning to drive over to the venue. I was with some of my friends in the car and I said, I don't know why, but I feel like the gate is not going to be open. I honestly couldn't even believe this was happening. I mean, right off the bat on one of the most important days of my life, I was already so angry and didn't really know what to do. Called my wedding planner. She didn't answer right away. She called me back. She said she didn't have a code when she should have. And I'm just sitting there in the car going through all these different scenarios in my head and I'm like, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to start hair and makeup in the pitch dark in the cars. I think like 20 minutes passed of us sitting there and my wedding planner finally got back with a code for us to put in the gate and thankfully the code worked. So obviously hair and makeup had to start behind schedule. I think we really got put behind schedule because when I first did my trial with my hair and makeup artist, I had short hair like this, but then 2 weeks before our wedding, I did decide to get very long extensions. I will insert a photo. They were absolutely stunning and my hair and makeup artist did a phenomenal job, but I think she underestimated how much hair I actually had. I did let her know in advance that I got extensions. I sent her photos and I feel like at that point we probably should have adjusted the schedule and we didn't. So my hair took a very, very, very long time. Again, it looked amazing. I could not be happier with how my hair turned out. It just really put us behind schedule. I just remember I had just moved into getting my makeup done after she finished my hair and my photographers and videographer were kind of just standing around waiting for me to be done and I wasn't even close to being done. So our photographers and videographer arrived at 11:30 and my wedding planner didn't really organize the schedule properly because our florist wasn't arriving until 12:45, which is a huge mistake because when they first arrived, they want to take detail shots of our rings, our invitation, my shoes, my perfume, and one of the major things in there is supposed to be floral, and my florist did make a specific piece to put in the detail shots and we didn't have it. So they did have to take our detail shots without the floral and I was really upset about that because again, the florist did make a piece specific for detail shots, so that was kind of annoying. The detail shots did come out beautifully. I mean, when you're looking at it, you don't really think like where's the flowers. And at the end of the day, I realized that that was the most minuscule problem that we had. Since hair and makeup put us like an hour behind, I felt so rushed getting into my dress and I feel like I didn't really soak in the process. I just remember like sprinting from the hair and makeup chair to the other room to put on my dress and my dress was wrinkled and no one had steamed it. And at this point, I didn't even know that my wedding planner was at the venue. It was like 12:45
8:45, and I had no idea if she was there or not. She didn't text me to tell me that she arrived. She didn't pop her head in to say, hey, like, let me know if you need anything. And according to my mom, she should have been the one to steam my dress. So the photographers and videographers are just like waiting around, waiting for me to get my dress, but then I had to wait for it to be steamed, and it just put us even more behind. I just remember it being so chaotic in this cottage where we were getting ready. I feel like everyone was yelling, like there were so many different things going on. I feel like I didn't have enough people helping me getting into my dress, and it just felt so rushed, and that is the last thing that I wanted. I just remember when my wedding planner first sent over the wedding schedule, it was not very detailed and everything was super late, and I was like, absolutely not. I want to move things 2 hours forward so that way if we for some reason do run behind, we still have so much room to work with. And I'm so glad that I said that, because if we did not move the schedule forward like that, it would have been an absolute disaster. And of course I adjusted the schedule because I didn't want to feel rushed, but then at the end of the day I was rushed anyway. So it was finally time to do our first look, and I just remember walking through the reception room to get there, and they had started setting up and everything. And one of the things I wanted for cocktail hour was a lounge set. So it had 2 sofa chairs and a longer couch. And again, it's a set. They're all supposed to look the same. The couch was a totally different couch, like did not even look remotely close to the sofa chairs. And I'm like, how does this happen, and how has this not been fixed already? It just blows my mind that all these workers put this lounge set on the truck. They could easily see with their own eyes that it did not match. So I don't even know how this happened. And then the fact that they even brought it into the venue and thought it looked okay is ridiculous to me. And I was really upset that my wedding planner at this point did nothing about it. And I sent 2 of my friends to go up to my wedding planner and be like, fix this now. If we cannot get a new couch in here. I said I didn't want it. I didn't want the lounge set at all. So going into my first look, I was already just so angry with how the day was going, and the fact that the couch was not the right couch just really pissed me off. Our first look went really well. It didn't feel as rushed, thank God. But then going into all of our couple portraits, it was so rushed, and I absolutely hated that feeling. There were so many different areas of our venue that I wanted to take photos at, so going from one place to another, we were literally like running. We had told all of our family and friends to meet up at the venue for family and friend photos at 2 o'clock. I don't think we got to those photos until like almost 3. So they were all kind of just waiting around for us, and I felt so bad. And keep in mind that our ceremony was supposed to start at 4. The goal was to have everyone who was walking down the aisle go back to the cottage by 3 o'clock, so that way when guests start to arrive, no one can see me. Obviously that did not happen. I don't think we got back to the cottage until like 3:30, if not 3:45. So at that point, guests had already started to arrive, and some of them saw me, which is not supposed to happen. They're like not supposed to see the bride before the ceremony. At this point, we were kind of just like waiting around for my wedding planner to tell us what to do and like when to walk over. We heard absolutely nothing, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna call or text her because like that should be her job, and kind of just waited. And I think I actually ended up texting her because it was taking so long. It was like 4:15, and I'm like, are all the guests here? Like, do we walk over from the cottage? Like, what's going on? Okay, wait, backtracking a little bit. I remember walking back from the venue to the cottage. I had to walk through the reception room, and all the centerpieces were up on the tables, and I was really upset because one of the things I specifically said is I do not want the centerpieces to look like birds. We had a lot of pompous in our florals, but a lot of the pompous centerpieces on Pinterest really looked like birds to me. I'll put up a photo. So I had to have a friend go and tell the florist to kind of rearrange them, and this is what they ended up looking like. They looked so much better. I hate to do this, but I am running out of time. I feel like I'm being so detailed, but I really want to because so many things went wrong. So stay tuned for part 2.
I worked the biggest shit show of a wedding I've ever been to in my entire life this last Saturday. Every single guest was gone by 8:30 p.m. The bride cried from 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Here's what I want to talk about. She had a dry wedding because she wanted to accommodate for 3 sober family members. That's beautiful. That's nice. She wanted them to feel included and feel like they could be at the reception all night without feeling like they were triggered around the liquid courage. But here's the thing. The bride drinks, her friends and family drinks, her immediate family drinks. Like, these were just 3 family members who were not her immediate family members, but she wanted them to be comfortable. They left by 7 p.m. She booked a 5-hour dry reception from 6 to 11, and these people left at 7 p.m. She did not need to have a dry reception. It was pointless because these people left within the same hour anyway, and they probably would have done that had there been liquids at the reception. But I really want to talk about the pep talk from the maid of honor, because my God, was it good. Basically, the bride was crying and she goes, I thought that tonight was going to be crazier than any of our nights at Tao. If you don't know, Tao is like a club here in Chicago, okay? The maid of honor looked at the bride and she looked around the room. She goes, babes, when we're at Tao, we have bottle service. We have sections. We do this like every weekend. Where's the bottle service, honey? Where's the section, sweetie? That's what she said to the fucking bride, and she's not wrong. And then the bride said, and this is really what I want to talk about, the bride was like, well, I just feel like we did our research so long, and I read so many, like, from so many personal experiences that people were able to have their friends and family dance till 11:30 and dance all night, even though it was a dry reception. Y'all have got to start fucking looking into the accounts that you're reading on. If you're gonna implement anything at an event in your life and you're taking into account first-hand personal experiences of other people, you have to be researching who those people are, because they're Mormon. They're Mormon, babe. The bitches who are dancing to 11:30 sober for fun are Mormon. Their highlight of their life is putting half and half in a Mountain Dew, and they love that shit. They love it. They create entire businesses around putting half and half in pop. Of course they're gonna dance to 11:30. There's gonna be a bunch of people in the comments being like, you're wrong, I'm not religious, I've never been religious, and I've only ever been to dry weddings where every single person danced to 11:30 and every single person I know can dance for 8 to 10 hours sober. Cool. I still don't think, though, that if that's who you are, that you would be friends or be wanting to take advice from the bitches who are clubbing every weekend, and vice versa. And that's where my point is. It still stands. You have to be looking into the people who are giving you advice, who are giving you ideas, because if 0% of their lifestyle matches up with yours, yeah, there's a small chance it might work out. Abso-fucking-lutely. But there's an even greater chance that it's not going to work out and you're not going to like the advice that you took, because the people that you took the advice from reflect 0% of your life. That's all I'm saying. Look into who you're fucking taking advice from.
This is the absolute craziest story that I have as a wedding planner. And I get this question asked a lot. Lindsay, what's the craziest thing you've seen? Tell us some story. And I'm not going to talk about the time that I walked into a gangbang in my groom's cabin. We'll save that one for another day. The story that I have for you is quite devastating. Years and years ago, I had a bride whose parents were divorced. The mother was a godsend. Her mother was so sweet. She was by her side the entire planning period. I never met her dad until wedding day. He didn't show up during the planning sessions, which dads typically don't. I get it. He didn't show up to rehearsal, which I thought was a little strange, since she did ask her dad to walk her down the aisle. Wedding day rolled around, and it was very obvious right off the bat that her dad and her stepmother were having issues with her biological mom and the rest of the family. And I get it. If parents are divorced, they have it. Some of them have issues. We see it quite often, but this one, it was different. And you know, I'm working, I've got a million things on my mind. I'm talking to vendors, I'm talking to bridal party members, and I'm not really focusing in on what is really happening. My husband is working this event with me, and it's go time. It is time for us to start our first ceremony song. We send out the grandparents are seated. We send out the mothers are seated. The mother of the bride, the angel, is seated. We sent our bridesmaids, our groomsmen, our ring bearer, and our flower girl. And then we switch the song over to our bridal procession. So here I am getting my bride's dress ready, getting her hair ready, getting her flowers just right, because her doors are 2 seconds from opening. And I give the DJ the cue, and her doors open. And as my bride, you guys, my bride and her dad were walking down the aisle. Her song was playing. Her groom and her are doing their first look. All the guests can see her at this point. Everybody is starting to stand. And the stepmother comes from the front row and starts walking the opposite direction down the aisle towards my bride and her father, who was being escorted down. And I'm like, oh my God, what is she doing? And she goes up to her husband, who is the father of the bride, and says, let's go. We're leaving. And I'm looking at my husband, and this is the first time in my career that I was completely dumbfounded. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. surely this man's not going to leave. Surely he's going to tell his wife, go sit down. But he did not. He left his daughter standing in the middle of the aisle all by herself. All eyes on her. He left. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I do? And I look at my husband, Tommy, escort her down the aisle. And her mother, the God sent, got up, walked out, didn't make a scene, smiled as big as she could, and she grabbed her daughter's arm. And I'm getting emotional thinking about this. And she walked her daughter down the aisle as her dad left. You guys, side note, we found the dad's boutonniere in our ditch the next day when we were doing a walk around the venue. How would you handle that? As a bride, how would you handle that? As a mother of the bride, seeing that happen to your daughter, as a maid of honor, as a groom, what would you do? You guys, I saw this. I witnessed this happen to my poor girl.
My husband has to be a best man in this wedding, right? He doesn't want to, but he says he will. We get the invite for the rehearsal dinner. I'm told there's going to be snackies, and also beef tenderloin and potatoes. Turns out snackies are half a bag of Tostitos and a jar of salsa for 15 people. The beef tenderloin was actually a tri-tip, and the potatoes were roasting at 175 degrees Fahrenheit in the oven. One of the groomsmen was a little... and he saw a 9x13 cake, so he helped himself. Turns out that 9x13 cake was the bride making herself a wedding cake. So the next morning, we get a call bright and early, asking us if we could pick up a couple wedding cakes real quick. Who volunteers to save the day? Me. I drive straight to our local grocery store. We got 3 options: rainbow frosting, green frosting, and blue frosting. Not ideal, but I can work with this. I go with the blue frosting. The lady at the counter sees me grab the cake and says, hey, do you want writing on that? I think about the couple, and I think they would like writing. So I have her put, congratulations, bride and groom's name. She asks if the bride's name has an H in it, and I so confidently say, absolutely it does. Until I'm scrolling through Facebook, waiting for it to be done, and realize it absolutely does not. I run to the counter. She's already done. No worries, I'll just grab the green cake too, and some frosting to write on it. I get home, I'm writing on this cake, and I run out of room. So now we have a cake either missing letters or with extra letters, to which I decide to take a butter knife and just blend it all in. Looks like a watercolor effect. How fun. We have to get to this wedding. We have a boat to catch, because we were supposed to float north for a while, even though that's not the direction the water goes. Anyways, everybody's getting on this boat for this ceremony. I go to step on, and they pull out a rope to stop me. They have reached max capacity. I cannot get on this boat. Awesome. Where am I supposed to go? They gesture to Fish and Jim. Fish and who? I'm up here. I look down from the boat, and there's a little fishing boat with a man named Jim. Jim has with him the wedding photographer, the DJ, and now myself. The other boat is so far above us that I can't see what's happening. I'm talking to Fish and Jim about his time in the war. We're bonding at this point, and finally I can see some activity happening on the boat. What activity? The bride peeing over the side of the boat. I question my life decisions and what got me here. I forgot to mention they ran out of bobby pins for the bride's hair, so they had to go to the shed before we got on the boat to make bobby pins out of copper wire. Innovative. It's time to head back to the reception, to which the groom confidently says we have to go steal the tables from the park first. Don't think that's legal, but what do I know? Just a full-on parade of tables walking down the road to their yard. I finally get access to some kind of alcohol to prepare me for the rest of the evening. The caterers show up, and what do they have? Wedding cake. Wedding cake. The maid of honor grabs the microphone and says it's time for the first dance, and she starts to sing. This is a song about how the couple met. The song was about a one-night stand. Was the maid of honor a great singer, at least? I'm just wondering at what point that we get to leave. My husband gets called in to sign the wedding certificate. The groom looks at me and he says, I can't wait for you to give me a premature baby. Come again? Apparently he meant premarital because my husband and I were not married at this point, but he enthusiastically said he wanted me to have a premature baby. The night did end on a high note because we got ready to leave and they handed me back one of those wedding cakes I brought over because they didn't need them. And you bet that I ate half of that cake on the ride home as a reward for making it through that day. We haven't talked to the couple since, but I hope they're very happy together.
I found out in real time that I was not invited to a wedding that I thought I was attending at that moment. For context, this person is somebody I went to high school with, and we've hung out, I mean, not that often, we live in different states, but we talk pretty regularly on, like, Instagram. She came to my wedding, her and her fiance came to my wedding. And so I got a letter in the mail that said, you're invited to celebrate the wedding of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah with a party on the lawn of this place. And then on the back of the card, it says food and live music. It has their registry, the location, the dress, everything you would need to know for a wedding. So me and my husband both thought we were going to a wedding. But when we get there, people were dressed very casually. And we knew it was casual because she told us beforehand it was casual. But, you know, if you're going to a wedding, you still kind of like, even if it's casual, you're more on the like fancier end of casual. But we get there and there's people in like all ranges. Other people also in like dresses and nice slacks. And then other people in like literal sweatpants and in like shorts and stuff. So I see my friend and she's in like this pretty jumpsuit and she's like out and about. So I'm like, oh, like this must really be like a casual wedding. Like this must be like good for her. Like she's like she's not a very bougie person. So it would be like her to have like a garden party casual type wedding. But I did think it was weird that like she would let the groom see her before the ceremony. So I find one of the people I know and I go sit with them. And this person is a childhood friend of my friend who I've known since we were in high school, even though we didn't go to the same high school, because we would always all hang out together. So I'm like starting to get confused a little bit. And I asked this girl, I'm like, is she already married? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. And my husband's like, is the ceremony going to be after dinner? And she's like, I don't know. And then her boyfriend goes, no, they're getting married tomorrow. So come to find out, this girl, I was like, I don't know, was a bridesmaid in the wedding. So she clearly knew like when the wedding was and like why the secrecy. So I'm like, well, I was like, oh my God, did I miss the invitation in the mail? I'm like, sometimes I don't check my mail like that often, but I feel like my friend would have texted me if I didn't RSVP for the wedding. And so the girl that's sitting across from me is like, I don't know, you should go check with blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not going to check with blah, 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 because if we were invited to the wedding tomorrow, then she would have texted me beforehand if I didn't RSVP. So then I hear my friend like talking to other people about the wedding and like everybody's like, I'll see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow. And I'm like, hold up. Like, I thought this was the wedding. And I have always been like an eccentric, like weird person. Like, especially as a kid, I was like in high school, I was so immature, so annoying. So like I would get left out a lot. I would get made fun of a lot. So this whole like situation just made me feel like I was back in high school. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then I find out like I'm not actually invited to the wedding. And like this is the rehearsal dinner. And all these people are going. And all these people are in the wedding. And whatever. I didn't expect to be a bridesmaid. Like, obviously not. But like usually when you invite somebody to your wedding, you are invited to their wedding. Right? So I'm thinking I'm invited to this wedding and I'm not. And me and my husband like gave a gift because like the registry was on the card or whatever, but I would not have given as much of a gift had I known I was not actually invited to the actual fucking wedding. And me and my husband both had to take personal time to attend this party. And we also had to pay for a hotel room and pay for gas, which is crazy right now to get here because it was in a different state. So it's like we started to get pissed because first of all, I work at a school and I'm not supposed to take time off at like in June. I have to take time off. I have to like prove I'm going to a wedding or graduation. And even my work with the invitation she sent thought it was a wedding. I don't even like care about not going to the wedding because I know how hard it is to make a wedding list because me and my husband did that twice last year because we got married 2 times because we're bougie. So I would have rather her just texted me and be like, hey, like I have a huge family. I know you invited me to your wedding and I'm sorry, but I can't fit you in mine, but you can come to this party. And I wouldn't have come. If I knew it was a party and not the wedding, I would not have gone because I would not have taken time off of work for this, and my husband would not have taken time off of work for this. I want to see you getting married. I don't want to come to your rehearsal dinner, like, of a wedding that I'm not invited to. That's crazy. And give you a gift, and you have your registry on there, and I gave you a gift? Like, I would have not given you the gift I gave you if I'm not paying for my fucking plate. So anyway, it just made me feel like absolute shit. It made me feel like I was back in high school again. Oh my God. Another weird thing that happened is this girl that I was really close friends with in high school, like, it was our whole friend group. I haven't seen her in like 10 years, okay? And they were like, oh, she's coming to the party. And I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to see her. Yay, I'm so excited. So I guess I was in line for food and she was in line for food, like, behind us. And the girl whose party it was for told her, hey, oh, Sam's up there. Go say hi to Sam. And she never said hi to me, which to me is fucking crazy. And then another one of our friends was there that she was always nasty to me. She was in our friend group too, but she was always the one that was like so nasty to me in front of everybody else. And just like, I was just like joking around with her and she'd be like, oh, you're not woke. And I was like, no, I'm literally, it's like it's a joke. Like, I am woke. That's why I'm making this joke. Okay. And it like, and I, maybe she was joking about that too, but I just like, oh, and that girl that didn't say hi to me and her used to be like, like roommates, like best friends. And so I was like, oh, did you see so-and-so? And she's like, no, why would I say hi to her? And I was like, you guys are best friends. And she's like, we had a falling out. Girl, how would I know that? I haven't seen either of you in 10 years. Like, why are you being rude to me? Like, I can't. So after the party, I was just feeling like absolute shit. Like, they made me feel like such shit. And so I was thinking, like, what would I tell my students to do if they brought up the situation to me? And I would tell them to unfollow them or block them. So that's what I did. I just unfollowed them and removed them as followers from me. And I'm not gonna talk to them and I'm not gonna engage with them anymore because just the way I felt afterwards, I never want to feel like that again in my life. And if they are not willing to protect my mental health, I'm gonna do it myself. And at one point, the girl whose party it was like, oh yeah, sorry, like, I hate it. Like, our venue had a limit. Bitch, every fucking venue has a limit. Our venue had a limit. Both our venues had limits. Guess what? That's why we had 2 weddings. One small one because it had a really tiny limit and one big one so everybody else could be included. That's how you got included in my wedding. And I know, like, maybe she couldn't afford it, which is fine, but just, like, tell me I'm not invited to the wedding. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yesterday she texted me and was like, whatever she said. And I just not answering. I'm deleting it and I'm not answering it because I'm just not going to be their friends anymore. I'm just not. And I don't feel like explaining anything to them. And I don't feel like arguing with anybody. And I don't see them often enough for it to actually affect my fucking life. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry the story was so long, but yeah.
So someone blocked me because I respectfully told them that they were not going to be invited to my wedding and we should talk about it because I've seen videos like this and I always just didn't think that would ever happen to me. So for context, she did in fact invite me to her wedding 11 years ago. She got married when she was 26. We are both now 37. This happened 11 years ago. I did a tender wedding. It was wonderful. We had a much stronger friendship at the time. But I have not seen her since 2019. And on top of that, all of our correspondences since COVID time have all just been like sharing memes, sharing Taylor Swift news occasionally, but like nothing of substance, no phone calls, no hangouts. So I literally posted, obviously on social media, that I was engaged. And so she reached out. We had pleasantries. Like, we talked about it. It was great. She was very nice. And then she basically saw my video. Again, she's blocked me at this point, so I'm not worried about her seeing this video, even if she did. When she chose to block me on all of social media and block my phone number after I respectfully told her what I'm about to tell you, like, I just decided I was going to make this video because I just don't care at this point. But we basically were talking about it, and she said, oh my God, you're gonna have your wedding in 3 months. And she said, well, I think gas prices might be going up. So can you give me like a better idea of like what weekend you think you're gonna have your wedding, so I can start looking at flights to try to like beat those prices? So I decided to, like, guys, I already have people that I talk to a hell of a lot more, have a stronger relationship with, but like at some point you have to make some choices. And if I haven't hung out with you since 2019, I haven't had a phone call with you since 2019, and our entire relationship is based on memes since 2019. I understand you invited me to your wedding 11 years ago, but I don't think that immediately like requires me to invite you to my wedding. That is my opinion. Maybe some of you think I'm wrong about this, but I basically was just like, oh, like respectfully, like I would love for you to come, but we have a space issue at this point. I said, we're not even going to probably be able to meet the criteria we're trying to meet right now, because we only can invite, 200 people, and we're already struggling to like make that list make sense. Then I get this whole like, I don't understand the rules of etiquette. She invited me to her wedding. She didn't know our relationship had deteriorated that much. And then I tried to respond, but instead, when I tried to respond, it didn't look like it was delivered. And then I realized I was blocked on Instagram and blocked on TikTok. So being engaged is a joy. I'm so excited about this whole process.
On top of my mom and my sister not coming to my wedding, I guess my aunt isn't coming either now. Let's talk about it. You guys want an update? I'll give you an update on the fucking insanity that is my family, okay? So I'm minding my business. My aunt calls me. I'm like, I know this is going to be about some drama, but you know what? I love my aunt, so let me pick it up. I answered at first. The conversation was going really well, I'm not going to lie. She's the first person to ask me, how are you feeling? Like, how are you doing? But it was short-lived because she asked the question and then just went on to like start talking about it. And she was like, your sister's distraught, your mom is distraught, this and that. And I'm like, I haven't even made a decision yet. So like, what's the drama? I don't get it. Your sister's crying, all this stuff. I'm like, why? Then she tells me, Sophia, I know that you've chosen to live like this independent life, and that has its pluses and all, but you're choosing a very lonely life, and you're going to be sad, and you're going to have a sad wedding. And then she asks me, are you really going to be happy at your wedding without your mom, your sister, or me there? Hold the fuck up. What did you just say? What did you just say? Naturally, I replied, why are you throwing yourself in the mix right now? Like, to which she answers, I just have to check the flight prices, and it's just really hot in Spain in the summer, and I just really don't like it. And before you're like, flights to Spain are expensive in the summer, she's a multimillionaire. So she called me to piggyback on the situation with my mom and my sister and be like, actually, I don't really feel like going to Spain in the summer, so maybe I could just add a little bit more to Sophia's pot. Naturally, I hung up. I literally laughed out loud and hung up. And I wish I was joking. Like, I wish I was playing. I wish this was like all for your entertainment and like clickbait. It's not satire. This is my life. Like, who does that? Who does that?
Story time about my wedding day while I was in a coercively controlling relationship. So the date was June 26th, 2021, and I was really excited. As you guys know, he definitely got worse once we were married. There were red flags before we got married that I just didn't notice or that I just gaslit myself about. So as most women do, I planned the whole wedding by myself. He wasn't really involved at all. The only thing that he really cared about making a decision about was the first dance, our first dance. And which is so funny because you guys know that he like hated when I dance, and well, actually that makes a lot of sense because he wanted to control the movements I was doing actually. So I just realized why he wanted to make up the dance. But he literally choreographed the dance. Is he a dancer? No. Am I a dancer? Yes. He wanted to choreograph the dance. And I, at the time, thought that was so cute and, like, romantic. Like, oh, how cute that he wants to like choreograph the dance. I don't know. I was delusional. He framed it in a way that felt so innocent. Other than that, he didn't really have much to say about like what the wedding was gonna look like or be like. As I've told you guys before, I had very cold feet on my wedding day. But also, becoming a bride is really anxiety inducing because all eyes are on you. It's this huge freaking event that you're planning, putting a ton of effort and energy and money into. You're supposed to look your absolute best on that day. It's just so much pressure. So I was like, yeah, that's why I'm feeling nervous, because I planned this gigantic party all by myself, and it's all of my friends and family coming together for me. And it's scary. But it did feel right, and it did feel great. It felt exciting. It felt how I kind of imagined it would feel. One thing I did have a lot of anxiety about was planning the pictures, and like you have to plan the whole order and who's going to be in what picture, and he hated being in pictures, so I just knew I was catering to like how pissed off he would be at being in photos. But again, I figured this was just like a classic man thing. Like, men don't want to have to organize. It's also, you know, emotional because it's your family involved. And, you know, you have to plan out all these photos of like who's in what photo, and are there any like awkward groups of people that can't be mixed together that like have had falling out or something. So it's a lot of stress, and I was definitely stressed about the pictures because I knew he was going to be pissed off about them, but thought that was normal. We did a first look, and we did our vows then, and then like in front of everyone, that's when we did the like repeat after me that the officiant does. The first look when we said our vows, like that was really special to me, and I thought it was beautiful. It did rain on my wedding day, so rain on your wedding day is not good luck. The biggest red flag was the dancing part of the wedding. So obviously we do the ceremony and everything's good, and we have the dancing part. And if you guys have watched my other videos, you know that he hated when I danced. I definitely didn't feel fully comfortable like letting loose and dancing like crazy at my own wedding, which is so sad. If you've watched my other videos, you know that he also controlled how much I drank, and he didn't like want me to drink. He discouraged it, and he just made me feel judged about it. He wouldn't tell me like, no, you can't drink. He just made me feel like a little bit judged about it, just like very slyly. But he kind of made me feel like it was my own elective choice to not want to drink much. And psychological abuse gets in your brain. It causes physical brain changes. And the wedding night was nothing special at all. We went and stayed at a hotel in Denver, and I wanted to go out after the wedding. I wanted to make plans to like have everyone go to a bar or something, because many of our guests had, actually almost all of our guests had flown in because they all lived like out of state. So I wanted to have a bar after, but he didn't want that, obviously, so we didn't do it. We went back to our hotel. I think we like ordered McDonald's. Yeah, we ordered DoorDash McDonald's. He did. That was like his favorite thing, was McDonald's. Any fast food he absolutely loved. And literally went to bed. And that was it. It wasn't great. Felt like a normal day. So all in all, it was a good day. It wasn't a great day. But it also wasn't anything crazy. There was no big event, you know, no huge red flags that I really overlooked. I'm sharing my stories not because it's fun to talk about, but because I think it's really important for other people to know what these signs look like, and also just to understand how insidiously this occurs, and that it really can develop over a long period of time. But yeah, spreading my tribal knowledge to help other people who might be able to avoid this situation. Stay tuned for more story times.
My wedding day went from being the best day of my life to one of my saddest memories because of one person. Let's go back. At my best efforts, I could not find anyone to film my wedding. So I asked a family friend and videographer. We get to my wedding day. He was meant to fly in that morning, and I didn't hear from him. I was messaging him saying, hey, have you landed? Halfway through getting ready, someone told me that he was downstairs with the boys taking videos of them. I thought, thank goodness. What a relief. Our wedding was over 2 days. He stayed the entire time. He filmed everything. I was so grateful. 6 months later, I hadn't heard from him. Crickets. Eventually he replied, and we met up in March. He showed me the footage. It looked amazing. And then I asked if I could see the moment just before I walked down the aisle. I had a special secret message from my 2-year-old. Sounds like this.
Hi everyone. Today, my mama getting married.
Knowing that it would make everyone fall apart, which it did. I wanted to watch the video of my husband as I walked down the aisle. For some reason, he didn't capture it. He missed what I believe is For me, the most important part of the day, seeing the groom as the bride walks down. Fast forward to my first wedding anniversary, I had not heard from him since. I sent him maybe 10 messages saying, hi, just checking in. Eventually got to the point where I said, I found someone else to edit this. You don't even have to edit. Please just give me the footage. Please just respond. I'm really anxious and upset about this and I would love to close this chapter. I email him and I send him Instagram DMs and I've called him on both his numbers many times. No reply. A few days before my first wedding anniversary, I get a message saying he's dropped all the footage off in a hard drive at my house. Inside the package was a little note saying, hi Kira, I'm so sorry for that. Just kidding. It said nothing. It said, this is the only copy available, so don't lose it. And it told me the program in which to edit my own footage. Some people, this stuff isn't important. And I don't need your opinion. So if you're still waiting on wedding content from me, until about a week ago, I didn't even have it. And the thought of my wedding would just make me sad and traumatized. The moral of the story is, get a content creator and be careful who you trust. It really be your own. Plus I still need to edit it myself.
Okay, you know those moments where your stomach drops first, but like your brain is still catching up to what was just said? That is exactly how I felt recently when I was working this wedding, and I just have to tell you about this. Okay, so let me start by saying this wedding seemed perfect. The weather was perfect. The bride had been planning this for years. Everything looked like it was going to go off without a hitch. But about an hour before the ceremony, the bride pulls me aside. She doesn't look like she's panicking. She wasn't crying. She was completely calm and looked me in the eyes and said, have you seen a man around here that no one seems to know? And I'll be honest, at first, I kind of laughed because I thought that she was joking. And when I realized that she wasn't joking and stayed completely straight-faced, my stomach dropped. So she went on to tell me that she had seen this man walking around the property that she would catch a quick glimpse of, but as soon as she went to look further, he was gone. And this man wasn't wearing wedding attire. He wasn't talking to anyone. He was just kind of lurking. And this was a pretty large venue with a lot of extra staff, including the staff that needed to be there that was hired for the actual wedding. So at first I just assumed it was one of them. So I went to investigate and started to ask around. The venue manager didn't know what I was talking about. The caterer hadn't seen him. But then I started to ask the photographer and the DJ, and they honestly both kind of assumed that he was with someone else, maybe someone's uncle or someone's friend. He didn't really seem to be causing any harm, so they just kind of shrugged it off. But that's what honestly worried me the most, that no one had actually spoken to this man, but other people had seen him and he had just been there throughout the day. But no one really had a clear answer on who he was, so I wasn't too alarmed yet. And I started looking around the property, looking for him. And I thought I had noticed him one time looking towards the bridal suite, never around where the groomsmen were, or the groom for that matter, but I had noticed him, and right as I went to walk up to him, someone else dragged me somewhere, and by the time I went back, he was gone. So, because this guy hadn't shown back up again, we started the ceremony, and we didn't want to ruin everything that we had already planned, of course, with not that much information on who this guy was or really where this guy was now. But all of a sudden, about halfway through the ceremony, I look towards the back and I see this guy again, but he's just standing there, looking towards the bride and groom, smiling and not making a sound, not causing any disruption, but just there. Follow for part 2, because who this guy ends up being and what ends up happening after the ceremony is a turn I had never expected. Okay, so the ceremony wraps up, and just as I go to the back to try and locate this guy or speak with him or something, he walks away. And he's not walking very fast, but he is walking away. And by the time I get back there, he's already crossed the parking lot and climbed into this kind of older SUV with tinted out windows. But what was crazy is he didn't drive away immediately. He just got in the car and sat there and was just watching the guests go from ceremony to cocktail hour, just kind of observing. And at this point, although I hadn't had a chance to talk to him, it just didn't feel right. So I went back to the venue manager and told her that we needed to call the cops. Something needed to happen and figure out who this guy is. But before the cops had even arrived, the groom's older brother had actually come out of where the ceremony was being held, kind of this reception hall, walks over to me and sees this SUV that this guy is sitting at. And immediately the brother says, "No way." So I look at the older brother and say, "Do you know who that guy is?" And the older brother proceeds to tell me, yes, that guy was the bride's ex-fiance. And allegedly the bride had called off their engagement a little over a year ago, maybe about a year and a half ago. And according to the groom's brother, he had actually shown up at another family gathering that was, I guess, somewhat public, and tried to confess his love for the bride again, and saying that they were meant to be together and everything. And although he wasn't really hurting anyone or becoming a huge problem at the family gathering either, they were able to deal with it themselves and get him off the property, and thought that that was going to be the end of it. No one had even thought for a minute that he would show up to the wedding at all. But at this point, we still had the cops on the way. So they ended up showing up and spoke to him out in the parking lot, and he admitted that he had been here throughout the length of the entire day. He told the cops that he didn't want to cause any harm, that he admitted he had no invitation, but just that he wanted to see her one last time before she got married off and he had no chance with her. But after talking with the cops, he agreed that he was going to leave, and leave quietly and calmly. So it was all resolved in that sense, and we didn't end up telling the bride until after the reception. But once we told the bride and the groom what had been happening, the bride looked at me and said, "I knew I wasn't imagining it. I thought it was him from the start." So now, anytime I'm working a wedding, when anyone tells me something that they're concerned about, but then says, "Oh, I'm sure it's nothing," I think about this wedding and I begin to investigate a little more, because maybe it's not nothing, and maybe it's what you think it is from the start. Because the crazy part about this is that everyone noticed him in some way or another, but no one really cared to investigate. And so now I do just that and investigate whenever a bride tells me something, even if we both just laugh it off as stress. Thanks so much, and follow along for more of these insane stories.